After reviewing nearly 600 sexual assault cases, the Meridian Township Police Department is reopening 7 of them. Today's announcement is part of the township's so-called fulfillment to CSC initiatives. The 7 reopened cases are from 2000 through 2017. The move stems from a sexual assault complaint made by Breanne Randall Gay against Larry Nasser in 2004. Earlier this year, the township apologized for not forwarding her complaint to the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office. The township is now working with Randall Gay on a community-wide sexual assault prevention program, along with reviewing CSC cases from the past 18 years. Police Chief David Hall says the CSC initiatives are his #1 priority.
I don't know as a day has gone by that I haven't thought about it and evaluated our response. Our effort is to put our best effort forward and do our best work.
Those 7 reopened cases will be reviewed thoroughly before being sent to the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office for review. Officers within the department have undergone sexual assault training and have more training scheduled for next month. Still ahead on the news at 10, a deadline is looming for the Iran nuclear agreement. We'll let you know what a possible U.S. withdrawal could mean for the future of the deal. Plus, before you plug in your phone, take a good look at who makes that charger. If it's not the same company as your phone, you may not want to use it. We'll explain why in a special report. But first, authorities are investigating after a military plane crashes near a Georgia airport, killing everyone on board.
Sarah Swistak. Storm Shield weather with Dustin Bonk. This is Fox 47 News at 10.
Investigators are still on the scene of a deadly military plane crash near Savannah, Georgia. Authorities say at least 9 National Guard crew members were on board, but none survived. Fox's Rich Dennison has the latest.
We're not confirming at this time how many souls were lost, but any is too many.
Tragedy in the skies over Georgia. A military cargo plane crashing onto a highway near Savannah Hilton Head Airport Wednesday, killing all the National Guard members on board. Shortly before noon, the plane appeared to stall and then drop. As a massive orange and black fireball rose into the sky, motorists stopped and got out of their cars. Witnesses say the fuselage of the C-130 cargo plane crashed onto the highway median, with pieces of the wings scattering across traffic. Officials say it's a miracle no motorists were killed or even injured on the busy roadway.
As far as we know, there were no cars hit in this crash. It is an absolute miracle at that time of day and that intersection. But so far as we know, there were no plane crashes, no cars.
Military officials say all those on board were National Guard members from Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, the community already lending support.
There's families that's going to be hurting for a long time, and we're just going to have to stick together and do what we need to do as a city to get through this.
The sheriff's office said the road will remain closed indefinitely while the investigation and cleanup takes place. In New York, Rich Dennison, Fox News.
An Ohio teen has been sentenced in the shooting of 2 high school students last year. 18-year-old Eli Cerna was sentenced to 23.5 years in prison. Cerna shot and critically injured 2 classmates in January of 2017. Prosecutors say he planned to kill as many people at the school as he could. His attorneys argued he was mentally unstable. A dozen Penn State fraternity members are awaiting a decision on charges stemming from the death of a pledge last year. Prosecutors say the charges are based on security camera footage from inside a basement bar the night Timothy Piazza suffered fatal injuries during a hazing ritual. If the charges are allowed to go to trial, the 12 new defendants will face misdemeanor reckless endangerment, among other charges. 26 members of the Beta Theta Pi fraternity face charges in connection to Piazza's death. Police are tightening up security ahead of the NRA's annual meeting this weekend in Dallas. About 80,000 people are expected to attend, along with President Trump and Vice President Pence. Protests and counter-protests are planned for Friday and Saturday as the organization faces scrutiny over recent deadly shootings. The clock is ticking on the Iran nuclear deal. The Trump administration has just 10 days to decide whether or not to stay in the deal, and Fox News has learned the president is strongly leaning toward pulling out. Jillian Turner looks at what a withdrawal could mean for the future of the deal.
With only 10 days left to go, the drumbeat of discontent inside the administration is growing louder.
Iran, has not shown good faith. It cannot be trusted.
But will the Iran nuclear deal survive without the U.S.? According to senior British government officials, it can. They tell Fox News the deal will live without U.S. participation. But the deal is based on a quid pro quo system of sanctions. If President Trump pulls out, the U.S. could be forced to punish other countries that continue trading with Iran. That's why national security experts are advocating for what they describe as a soft exit to avoid a major breakdown in trade relations with Europe.
The president will give a grace period of perhaps 6 months to allow the Europeans to continue negotiating with Iran. But at that 6-month point in time, the president is going to have to start lowering the boom on European companies.
But trade is a double-edged sword for Europeans. Iranian exports to the EU increased by 375% after the deal was inked. All the other countries that signed on to the 2015 framework agreement remain committed to it, and behind the scenes they've encouraged the U.S. to stay put. Even President Bush's Secretary of State, a critic of the deal, cautions withdrawal could spell trouble.
I would have probably stayed in the deal just to kind of manage the allies in it who have a lot at stake. But it's not going to be the end of the world if he does pull out.
Amidst this tailspin of uncertainty, a consensus is emerging around one idea. The current deal is incomplete, and parts of it need to be fixed urgently. European allies and even Secretary of Defense Mattis have all said publicly in recent weeks that steps must be taken to address Iran's ballistic missile program and its attempts to destabilize the Middle East. In Washington, Jillian Turner, Fox News.
Health experts warn of the dangers of at-home genetic testing kits for cancer and why one teen says her smartwatch saved her life. We'll have those stories coming up in tonight's health headlines, but first, Fox News Business.
Checking out on the job, the average amount of time employees disengage at work every day. I'm David Asman with the Fox Business Network. More coming up.
You're watching Fox 47 News at 10.
A new regulation for cars most drivers will back, and is your job making you disengage? Fox Business Network's David Asman has those stories and more in tonight's Fox News Business Report.
Well, a new law for vehicles could help put a lot of accidents in the rearview mirror. Beginning on Wednesday, all new cars sold in the U.S. must have backup cameras. Now, obviously, the move is designed to improve safety as more than 200 people are killed and more than 12,000 injured a year by vehicles backing up. The company Op Loans is putting a price tag on parenthood. The firm estimates it costs around $9,500 a year on average to raise a child. They say it's cheapest in Montana at $2,000 a year and most expensive in Washington, D.C. at nearly $18,000 a year. Well, good news for parents who need more money to raise their kids. The payroll company ADP says businesses added 204,000 new workers last month. The government's jobs report comes out on Friday. Well, it seems employees are spacing out when they are hired. That's because a new survey from Account Temps finds employees are disengaged more than a quarter of the time. These people say they'd be more engaged if they had things like better perks, more challenging tasks, and a lot less red tape. That's a look at business. I'm David Asman.
Tonight's Pump Patrol price is $2.67 at the Speedway on South Main Street in Eaton Rapids. We're looking for the least expensive gas price in mid-Michigan every day. If you see it, give us a call at 484-8847 and we'll put it on TV. The nationwide E. coli outbreak linked to romaine lettuce has now claimed a life. According to the CDC, one person in California has died and 121 people in 25 states have been sickened. About half of them had to be hospitalized. The CDC says you should not eat romaine lettuce unless you know for sure that it wasn't grown in or around Yuma, Arizona. That also includes lettuce sold in packaged salad mixes.